Hi everyone, it's Joy here, just sharing a quick video with you all, showing you how I created a cardstock flower using Spellbinder dies, along with what I call a whitewash background effect using a paint pearl dabber. This is the card we're going to be creating today, sharing lots of those techniques. So here's the flower we'll be creating. Now there's many tutorials out on the net showing you how to create flowers. I just want to show you how you can create a flower using up some of your scraps. So first off, I'll show you the tools you're going to be using. Using a Tim Holtz pick. This is a great tool to have in your collection as it retracts and there's no accidents. Some Kaiser Craft pearl brads, along with a distressing tool and some Spellbinder dies. And I think I used the big scallop circles in this one. You just want to be able to use a die cutting system to be able to create your petals. And just some scrap cardstock, and here I've used some pink. And as you can see, I've already run this through my Cuttlebug to create the petals. So you want to be able to create 4 of these so that they layer together. So to start to create the flower, you want to take each of the petals and your distressing tool and go around the edges of each of the petals. Just distressing as you go. You can use scissors, you can use your fingernail, you can use whatever you have on hand to distress the edges of the petals. There's no right or wrong in how you actually create these petals. So just working on each of the petals, and this is what you'll end up with. Now we just want to be able to make the cardstock a little bit more flexible by scrunching it up and just making it a little bit more distressed. So you just work your way around each piece of the cardstocks. Once again, there's no right or wrong in how you actually do this. It's just making that the cardstock is a little bit more pliable. So just working on the last one here. Okay, so now we just want to add the brad through the centre. So just taking a piercing mat that I have here and layering each of the petals one on top of each other. Just making sure to centre. And then we're just going to pierce a hole through the centre. But first we'll just get our brad out. And now taking our piercing tool, we're just going to poke a hole through the centre of the flower. Now the brad is actually a little bit bigger, so I'm just going to punch another hole through just so that the brad has a bigger hole to go through. Okay, so placing our brad through the centre of the flower and just positioning where I want it to be. And it's pretty flat, so we'll just fluff up those petals by scrunching into the centre. And once again, there's plenty of tutorials out there on the net to show you how to create flowers, but this is how I create mine. So just working your way around until you're completely satisfied with the end result. And I'm pretty much happy with the way that looks. So next we're going to work on the background. Here's a Purple Onion Designs card that I created using the whitewashed effect, but on this card I used the wipe dabber. So to create that background, you're going to need some craft cardstock along with your pearl dabber paint. Also a sentiment, and this one is from the Essential Messages from Hero Arts, and I'll just use one of the sentiments out of that set. And you'll also need a trimmed white card. along with some adhesive to hold down the flower and the cardstock to the card. So we'll just move this white cardstock and we'll work on our non-stick craft sheet. And just taking a craft card along with a paint dabber, we just want to be able to swipe over the top of the actual craft cardstock. So we're just going to work the paint down to the end of the paint dabber, just getting some paint onto the non-stick craft sheet. And just dabbing off the excess so we don't have too much. Then what you're going to do is you're just going to swipe on to the cardstock. So working off on the non-stick craft sheet and working our way on by just swiping effects. Now you don't want to apply too much pressure here, you just want to have an even stroke as you go along. So just doing one side of the cardstock and now flipping it around and doing the other side. Same process, just adding swipes of paint to the cardstock. Okay, so add some to the centre, but you only want to add enough so that still the cardstock shows through the paint, hence giving it the whitewash look. So just continuing till I'm happy with the end result. Okay, so as you can see, it gives a nice pearly shine there. And I just noticed that I need a little bit more onto that cardstock, so I'll just add a little bit extra. Okay, so there we go. It just gives a really beautiful shiny effect to the cardstock. So now we'll add our sentiment. So just using our Fiskars stamp press and grabbing our sentiment from the stamp set, and this time I will use the thank you. Okay, so adding our Hero Hues dye ink onto the stamp. And just using the Fiskars stamp press to position over the cardstock as to where I wish the sentiment to be. Just applying some pressure to get a good even impression. And there we go, there's our sentiment. So next what we'll do is we will adhere our flower to the top of the cardstock. And with that we'll just use some foam dimensionals. Now I use quite a few foam dimensionals here just so that I know that the flower will stay onto the cardstock. You don't have to use as many as I have, but I just wanted to make sure that it will hold. So just pulling the backings off those self-adhesive dimensionals and adhering our flower to the cardstock. Just fluffing up the petals to make it a more realistic flower. Okay, there we go, and that is our finished product. So next what we want to do is adhere this to the front of our card. So we'll just grab some more adhesive and go around each edge of the cardstock. So I'm just positioning this as to where I want it to be put onto the card front. Just making sure it lines up. And there you have it. That is the end result of the card. You can add some pearls either side of the sentiment if you like, but pretty much I'm happy with the end result, and it gives a nice shiny look when you use the paint pearl dabber. I hope you've actually enjoyed watching the tutorial today and that it gives you some techniques to try out. Don't be afraid to use some paint on your actual projects. It's quite fun to play with. So for more information, please visit my blog at www.jt.cardmaking.blogspot. And I'll just show you a couple of more examples. Here's a Purple Onion Designs card with a whitewash background, along with another card I created using that flower. Thanks for watching.